Hey everybody, Joe's Philosophy coming out from Copenhagen. No, I'm not. It's supposed to be, but that didn't happen, did it? I hope everyone got the email that Angie sent quickly after I realized plans were changing. Plans were changing quickly because weather. And I had to make some decisions. I was in Zurich. I had to lift up to Zurich, and I was like, okay, perfect start for my trip north. And my trip north quickly looked like it wasn't going to happen. So I had to make decisions quickly and say, what's going to happen? Which way am I going to go? And I looked at the weather north, south, and east of where I was then sitting with some friends, luckily in Zurich. I had to make a decision to head west. Headed west with the idea of maybe still head north. Let's see what happened. And my bike was packed, ready to go. And I met some other cyclists. When I crossed Switzerland, I met some other cyclists in France who said that their tour was kind of rained out, washed out, wasn't so much fun. They wound up in the same area of France I was. And, and so anyway, after a few days, 5-6 days of cycling, I realized, okay, the way I'm heading is kind of slowly back home, which was cool. Wound up being still a beautiful journey through some excellent parts of France. Some I've never cycled in, some I've had a little cycle experience in. But many years ago. So I was like, oh well, let's see, what are we going to do? So I'm not going to go to Denmark. The universe has said for the second time, ain't happening. First time Andrew was pregnant, and we were in Amsterdam, and we made a U-turn. So this time I didn't even head further north than Zurich, and it was all west and south. But it was just amazing. I met some other cyclists who had to change their plans because of weather, so I wasn't the only one out there whose plans got radically changed. But it was cool. It was like, hey, all right, here we are together. And so the universe threw us together. So I made some good friends, and that's what I love about my cycling. My cycling is all about meeting those strangers that will be going to become friends. It's about see what the universe is ready to throw at me. If I can't find camping, I use my paper maps. I don't use technology. I try to keep in touch with a couple of people every once in a while, Angie being one of them, and that's just it. It's kind of like, don't use the Google Maps. I use a paper map. If I get lost, I get lost. And as far as campsites are concerned, people, even some cyclists, hardened cyclists, ask me, if I use the phone to make a campsite reservation. I don't. There's usually a sign, or there's a local around, someone who knows if there's a campsite or there's an office of tourism. And so I like doing it more like that. It just feels more real of a trip. And yes, 3 times on this trip, I had to camp in places that weren't campsites. The friendliness of a man who let me stay in his back garden, very lovely, him and his wife, and just stuff like that. It makes the trip. It just makes the voyage. That's why I travel, because people are so friendly. Countryside is so beautiful. You can't really miss. It's got a good paper map with enough detail. You could get through a beautiful journey, and I had to wrap my head around, I'm not heading north. My trip's going to be shorter than it is, and that's it. And once I wrapped my head around that, it just unfolded into a beautiful trip. Gave me this funky tan with a 2-tone head. That's why I wore no hat. I got my 2-tone hair. I got my arms. So I did have some rain, but I had a lot of sunshine. Had some beautiful cycling through the high mountains, the Chartreuse, the Jura. Well, first the Jura out of Switzerland into what a beautiful region. Anyone highly recommended. Then into the Chartreuse, and then from there into the Vercors, and from the Vercors I slowly made it to Avignon again, and then down. I finished the part of the Verona that I didn't do last year, from Avignon down to the seaside in Sète, and I along the Mediterranean and back up into the hills. So I mean, so. What could I say? 1,500 kilometer, nearly 1,000 miles of beautiful cycling, friendly people. I met another couple, an English couple about my age, who had to change their plans because of weather. That's what happens. You got to change your plans. You got to be flexible. They had to be flexible, and they changed their whole plan. And we had 5 days together, and now we're friends. And hopefully they'll be coming to see me the tail end of their voyage. So anyway, that's what happened, and that's why I never made it to Copenhagen. And if you did send me a letter up there expecting a postcard, please let me know, and I will send you a postcard from here. I live in a beautiful part of the world. Those epic adventures that I was planning this north thing to be, I just kind of realized on this trip, do I really need those epic adventures, or do I really want those epic adventures anymore? Do I like my 2-3 week journeys? So I was juggling with a lot in my head, and I came up with the the basic thing, like if an epic adventure is going to happen, it's just going to happen and unfold. I can't plan it. I never really planned epic adventures. I never planned in my life to be living in southern France. So, you know, those open-ended epic adventures when I was younger was a whole different thing to now I have a house in a place that I love, and with the beautiful nature, with my wife, that you know, we have a beautiful life together, and we got our kids that come in and out, and so we, you know, the summertime is here, is beautiful, got the bird song in the background. So, you know, what is good, what is bad? Need we ask these questions? I know a lot of people, you know, some people out there are getting bad news. I just hope that, you know, we could surmount these problems. And you know, my niece, who I was keeping in contact with during this trip, she said I have a way of turning lemons into lemonade. And I said, thank you for that compliment, Dana. And yes, maybe lemons was what was thrown at me as my trip changed in Zurich. But I was with my friends in Zurich, cycling with my friend Marco, staying with my friend Marco and Esther, and you know, they were kind of nice lemons to begin with. And yeah, so I had to turn around and go a different way than I thought. Cut my trip a little shorter than I thought. Fine. My legs, my body were up to the task. My touring bike up to the task. So what could have been, you know, considered lemons, I turned into a beautiful lemonade drink. And I must say I enjoyed that lemonade all the way down to here. And I hope that everyone in your life, you could be a little bit flexible, and someone throws some lemons at you, try to make them, squeeze them, make some lemonade. That's a really good thing to keep in your mind. Can we all do that? Can I do it every day? Can I do it all the time? I try. I try my best. I try to be positive. And my trip north became a trip south, and a southwesterly back down to my house. Zurich, look on your maps, Zurich, Switzerland, across to Basel, and then down through the mountains to the seaside and back home to my place a little south of Toulouse here in the beautiful foothills of the Pyrenees. So there we go. That's my lemonade trip. And I just hope everyone out there is sucking on a nice cold lemonade, because right now I'm going to go inside and have me a nice lemonade. I've been trying to even up the tan on my head by spending a little bit more time outside, and I don't know, I'm going to have to dress pretty weirdly the next few days to even up this tan. But anyway, that tan just shows it was a good trip. Lots of sunshine. Sure, I had some rain, some freezing cold weather as well, but that's all part of the journey. And but the journey north was not part of that journey, because that journey north was looking like, you know, floods and inundations, and something that wouldn't have been fun for the first couple of weeks of my tour. So I just decided this was the way to go. So Joe's Philosophy coming at you once again with a bit of hopefully a positive vibe to this video that says we could deal with change. Change is the only constant thing in life, and we have to go with the flow. And if we keep on fighting and go try to pedal upstream or row upstream, maybe it becomes a little bit more difficult. But I'm not saying just to let go and do nothing. We have to, you know, try, work with the universe, you know, give a little push. You know, my trip was challenging, very, very challenging, physically, mentally. And as a trip always is on a bicycle, a solo tour on a bicycle, you know, you meet people at the right time, and you stay in these beautiful camping places, and sometimes you have a tough day, sometimes you have headwinds, sometimes you have tailwinds. I had lots of headwinds on this trip, but again, I just looked at it and said, this is what the trip's throwing at me. I hope everybody could do the same, whatever we get dealt with in our lives, and enjoy this life we have at the moment. Keep on philosophizing, everybody, and you take care till the next time. Be well. If you're disappointed, if you did send me a letter in Copenhagen, I'm really sorry. Let me know, and I'll send you a postcard from my beautiful part of the world I'm sitting in right now.